Hey, Angel.
Yeah.
Why don't you start your show?
Alrighty. Well, thanks to that delay. Thanks to yours truly.
I need some.
Yeah.
Do you have any music to open up your show with?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to switch over to. I was just, getting on my own self here.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
He was vamping. All right.
Yeah.
Let's turn up.
It feels good to see the world getting loose. Feels good to see the world getting loose. I don't know about you, Sack Noel. I don't know about you, Phenom. I don't know about you, White Shadow. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I'm 2 + 2, I'm for sure. You down, I'm down, baby, let's go. You stop, you drop, baby, then roll. You twerk, you pop, booty so swole. I'd hate me too if I were you. And when it comes to billions, I'll take 2. It's only one life, you don't get 2. So live life, don't let it live you.
I got a pocket full of $100 bills. Put on a jacket, cause these diamonds give you chills. 2 shots I'm running, 2 out I'm stunning tonight. Yeah. Look in the mirror, I'm like, who the hell is he? So many whips and cribs, I'm losing track of keys. Ooh, up to something. Ooh, yeah, I love it, alright.
Yeah, I'm drinking out the bottle. Get loose, hanging with supermodels. Get loose, feel like I hit the lotto. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good.
And once again, we are live. It is Monday, January 15th, and first and foremost, make sure that we do the right thing here on Martinez Company, and that is to make sure that we always remember Martin Luther King Jr. on his day, which is every day. But let's not forget that today is the man's day. Martin Luther King Jr., who did a lot for a lot of people and continued to do a lot for many of us. As the years keep going by, the patriarch, the man, I mean, there's so many things that can be said about MLK, but he continues to lead the way. And if you want a great example of a man, that is the best example you could possibly put out there, because I believe, in my own opinion, that if the man still would have been alive today, there would have been a good possibility he probably could have became the actual first black president ever in American history. So let us not ever forget MLK on his day, because again, I know it's a federal holiday, but it's more than just a federal holiday. So hopefully if you guys were out in your communities doing the right thing, raising awareness, whatever the case may be, I hope that everyone enjoyed the day. Again, let's never, ever forget MLK on his day, Martin Luther King Jr. And with that being said, it is Monday, once again, January 15th, live here in the Tampa studio in Tampa, Florida. I am Angel Martinez. He is Rick Quinones, Martinez and Company here on the Tony Bruno Sports Network. You guys just heard Tony and Miss Robin on the crossover. In case you missed it, you can always go back and hear the replay. But nonetheless, they were back on, and it's good to hear them both back on their own network, which is a great thing. So it's good to hear Tony feeling better, sounding better, which is the best thing, at least in my opinion. Don't forget the phone lines are open as well, 844-644-8669, 844-644-TONY, 8669, for those who can punch it up there on the keyboards. So let's not forget about that as well. Also, thank you for watching us here also on the social medias, and don't forget to always download the Tony Bruno Sports Network app, therefore on the Apple and or Google store, so you guys never miss a show. You could be out right now in Buffalo, where Buffalo is bringing it to Pittsburgh, even though Pittsburgh had just scored before we came live. So it's 21-7. I'm trying to keep tabs of the game here on the side, and it probably went away again, so I'll have to refresh it at one point or another, but it is 21-7, and some games this weekend, Rich. Oh my God. I think the surprising one probably would be more of Houston. I think when the onslaught, the way they end up doing it, because Detroit, it was good to see finally they get one since 1991. It was good to see they had Megatron was back there, Barry Sanders was back there, Eminem, but Eminem has gone that route. He's gone that way. used to be here. Now he's over there. And maybe one day he'll keep making his way and come back this way again. But
hey, I'm an Eminem fan, man. So I can't really knock him. I'm an Eminem guy. But yeah, I mean, listen, Houston was a surprise. Obviously, Green Bay was a surprise. James Hasty, I had him on BYP on Friday and said, don't be shocked if Green Bay wins. I thought one of the more entertaining games was going to be Detroit and the Rams. Happy for Goff. Everyone was talking about Stafford. Right. Detroit's still in play for me with my futures for NFC title game and getting to the Super Bowl. And then you mentioned Buffalo waxing Pittsburgh right now. I mean, listen, this is wildcard weekend. It's a great weekend. Kansas City, Miami. We thought Miami was in trouble going on the road in that bad weather. I loved Kansas City in that spot. But I think the biggest takeaway from the weekend was, once again, aside from tonight, we'll see how it plays out with the Eagles in Tampa Bay, the Dallas Cowboys just absolutely rolling over like a bunch of friggin' dogs. I mean, to go into a playoff game at home with so much at stake, the head coach, the quarterback, the owner, the friggin' annoying ass friggin' fans who are beyond salty on this Monday. I mean, Dallas Cowboys fans, this is what happens when you guys wax poetic about winning shit from 30 years ago. You don't win Super Bowls in July. You don't win Super Bowls in the offseason. You win them in January. You win them in February. And for that team yesterday afternoon, I should say, Angel, to not show up, to be ill-prepared, ill-equipped, to have the DC look clueless, to have the friggin' head coach look clueless, to have the quarterback look clueless, to have the owner look clueless, to have the fans look like a bunch of friggin' rats scurrying out in the third quarter. I sat back, I chuckled, I laughed. I had a moment of just this clarity where they'll never win another Super Bowl as presently constructed, period. There's no debate. There's no argument. There's no Baldy's breakdowns. There's no all 22. It is what it is. They're never going to win with McCarthy. They're never going to win with Dak Prescott. And once again, to get embarrassed, and give the Packers credit. Give the Packers credit. Because you know what the Packers did? The Packers took the football and they ran it right down the Dallas Cowboys' throats. And they broke their friggin' back.
Yep.
They basically sucked the life out of them. They took their soul on a Sunday in January. And this is where we're at. I mean, best case scenario right now for the Philadelphia Eagles, win in about 4 or 5 hours, and you don't even have to worry about playing San Fran until potentially the NFC Championship game. But yeah, Dallas, it's got to be the story, man. That was just, it was an embarrassment. The other crap, Angel, all smoke and mirrors, man. Joe Flacco reverted back to Joe Flacco, the pumpkin. It happens. Good for Houston. Good for Detroit, good for Kansas City, good for Buffalo right now. But Jesus, man, Dallas.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, because we got a couple of clips there, which I'm quite sure Dallas fans are going to absolutely love. I got to check the text line here to make sure, but we got a couple of comments that came in. Nope, good. It was 20 from Tony's show. Let me make sure I clear these up. Therefore, it won't show up again. There we go. Also, so we had a couple comments here. Starting off tonight with Get a Grip he says, is it just me, but does Rich have a bigger beard? Nevertheless, awesome tribute to MLK. The Bucks have his family at the game tonight. That's absolutely awesome. Dave Wallen checks in and says, what's up?
What's up, Dave?
Mickey. What's up, Mickey?
Mickey, where's your Cowboys, Mickey? Where's your Cowboys?
Yeah, well, listen,
we're going to pound the pack.
I did. Now, on Friday, I did mention on the radio on Friday here on our digital platform on the Tony Bruno Sports Network that Green Bay is Dallas's daddy. The only difference that I said was it was done with Aaron Rodgers 2 years in a row. This year, Jordan Love picked it up where he left off, ended up doing it again. But if for those who are going to be easily offended here, no, it's not nothing bad. I'm just talking to the Dallas fans because here's something that I absolutely wait and die to hear afterwards.
You know, I thought about doing something a little extra, I really, really did. I really, really did. Because I said, you know something? I've been telling y'all now for 28 straight years, 29 and counting. Just wait. Be patient. They won't let you down. But you wouldn't listen. You wouldn't listen, did you? You wouldn't listen. Now look what's happened to you now. I could go in real deep. I really could. But first take is tomorrow. It ain't no holiday for me. Oh, I'm gonna be in the house. And I'm gonna have my man Shay Shay, a.k.a. Shannon Shaw, with me. I'm sure he won't have to look for y'all. But just in case. See you tomorrow on First Take. You hear?
There he is, Stephen A. Smith, as always.
Yeah, what would he do? What would he do, by the way, without the Cowboys, LeBron, and the Yankees? What kind of content would they have? I'm sorry. I'm so tired of some of these friggin' talking heads. I mean, it's just. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, yeah, we get it. You know, he says what he says, he does what he does. You know, he's not a legit football fan. He's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's just you know, it's some pickings out there, brother. That's all I'm saying, right? You know, Cowboys fans now they can turn their attention to the Lakers and the Yankees.
That's true. Mickey says, by the way, you can give me all the shit you want, Rich.
I won't do that, Mick. I'm gonna save the venom for my Facebook post where apparently I struck a nerve with some listeners and I struck a nerve with some Cowboys fans. So no, that's okay, Mick. You're RO with me, pal. Don't worry about it. Is that
then Jeff McClanahan tuning in from YouTube, he says the Cowboys not winning until the real problem is gone. Jerry Jones, which is
that's never going to happen. Come on.
No, it's not, unfortunately, but we've already heard. Thank you, Mickey. We appreciate it. Always sharing the show. We really do appreciate it, Mick. The one big thing is, as Jeff talked about here, supposed again alleged. Now Belichick's name is rumored to be going to the Cowboys because obviously Jim Harbaugh had an interview with Chargers. I believe that is going to be the landing home for the Chargers. For Jim Harbaugh, I should say. But it's hang on. I got to restart because apparently they had a power outage. So let me restart things here. Give it a second. As soon as it refreshes. Yep, because I see the mic's off. Hang on, folks. We're coming back. Waiting for it to refresh. Give us 1 second and we'll give you the world. Miss Robin at the studio, and she said that they had a power outage, and so they had to refresh everything. So no one was probably hearing me on the app here momentarily, but hopefully we'll come right back here. Give us a second while I reload everything back up.
21-7, by the way, Buffalo at the half.
That's been a quick game. Hold up. Whoa. Next cast isn't even loaded up. Oh, boy. Net loading up. Hang on, folks. Hang on. Hey, Miss Robin. Yeah, I'm trying to reload next cast and it's not coming back up.
So while I'm just working that out, we'll give you some update on NBA scores. Sixers got the win over the Rockets, 124-115. Mavs won over the Pelicans. Magic beat the Knicks. Hawks beat the Spurs. Late night on the hardwood this evening in the NBA. I don't know if it's really Jeopardy music that we read right now. I mean, it could be just like we like to call it a little filler. So
already
you got as Angel's figuring that out. Did you figure it out?
See, it was causing a power outage and knocked out the next cast. So we had to bring it fired back up again.
Perfect. So you got 21-7, by the way, at the half. Josh Allen had that big 50-something yard run. By the way, Tony Romo, Jesus, will you just stop already with Josh Allen? acting like the guy freaking invented football. This guy makes a couple big calls a couple plays before they even happen, Nostradamus, and all of a sudden, Jesus, just enough with the
Exactly.
nonsense.
Jeff, by the way, Tony's feeling a lot better. He went on. So if you guys haven't heard the new show, LFG, with Dave Benz and Jim Cosymore, he was on with them the last 15 minutes on Friday's show and sounded pretty rough on Friday, but bounced back really well. So Tony is feeling absolutely excellent, a lot better than he's had in the last 2 weeks. Miss Robin sounded a lot better as well. So yes, thank you for asking. They're both feeling a lot better. Get a Grip says, Thomas Robin Company says hi. Okay, your company, huh? I see you. Fuji, the Godfather. What's good, fellas? What's up, Fuji? Now, here's a guy who will flip his lid, literally flip his lid if the Eagles just tank it. A classic Fuji rant. You want someone to go absolutely bananas? That's Fuji, the Godfather, back in Philly in the Northeast. He loves his birds just as much as the rest of us. But to me, listen, I'm still not feeling it. It is game day. Yesterday, they had a good crowd at Tampa Joe's down there at 9316 Anderson Road in beautiful Tampa, Florida. Hop, skip, and a jump from the airport. Sponsor of Broad Street South. Game day, EAGLES, Eagles, comes from Fuji himself. But they had a good crowd. Philly Sports Trips made it out there. They actually had a D plane or D board when they were first on there. They were on the tarmac for 2 hours, had them come off, delayed the flight to 2:00. Finally made it, I think, around 6. They also had Hollis Thomas, his birthday yesterday down there at Tampa Joe's. So they had a good time. Of course, they had a tailgate today. I'm pretty sure they're making their way over now to Raymond James Stadium. The tailgate parties by Philly Sports Trips. You guys have not been to a tailgate party at Philly Sports Trips. You need to go. That's all I can say. They put an excellent one. Matter of fact, they should be having one here pretty soon, coming up next month when they travel down here, as spring training is right around the corner. So they'll be back down here as well. Just take a look at their website, phillysportstrips.com, and you guys can find out. Oh, speaking of Philly Sports Trips, also, let me give a great shout out to my barber, Roger, down there at the Blade in Spring Hill, right off of Spring Hill Drive. That got the fresh fly cut today by my barber extraordinaire. The man is just a barber legend. Everybody inside the shop, if you guys are living here in the Tampa Bay area, Pinellas County, Pasco County, Hernando County, stop by the Blade. The place it's like a club, Rich. They fixed up the inside, putting more lighting, added some nice colors. All that, honest to God, Friday nights they can make it into a club. That's how nice they made the place.
You go high and tight because you have you do the military cuts.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, I won't do it. I'll clean it up and trim it up a little bit. I mean, I kept a beard for Friday's broadcast. By the way, breaking news.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to load it up. Wait a minute. Don't go anywhere. Here we go.
So Friday night boardwalk call, right?
Yeah.
Good card, sitting down, right? Broadcast table, got the monitor, got the notes, had the coffee, getting ready to go. And my, one of the guys that directs comes up to me. He's like, yo, man, it's like a who's who tonight. He's like, Roy Jones Jr.'s half promoting, Joe Frazier Jr., Danny Garcia. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yo, I think AJ Brown's in the back. I was like, go grab him, man. Tell him to sit in with me. So I have this kid. He's like 20-something years old, running around, one of the camera guys trying to grab like AJ Brown, right? So I'm texting my buddies and they're like, yo, you're going to try to get him to sit with you during the broadcast? I was like, yeah, he's a big boxing fan. I was like, I can't wait till some idiot takes a couple photos of this and they put it on social media and all of a sudden AJ Brown's like a major issue. And I said, now granted, let me preface it by I've crushed a guy on the air on multiple occasions. So, as I'm saying this, I sit down, we start the fights. Roy Jones Jr. sits down for me for the last couple fights. So we're talking around. So, they lead me as I do the broadcast to camera guys. And I was like, Danny Swift Garcia, with, sitting ringside Roy Jones Jr., here we go. Blah, blah. And I was like, AJ Brown, all pro wide out. So, put a quick little shot of him and like just kind of chuckle. And I was like, we tried to get him to sit at the broadcast table. And I was like, I guess he didn't want to, I guess he wanted to just kind of stick to boxing and not football related tonight. But I saw him. I said, hey, man, heal up. That was pretty much it. When you know, 3 hours later, I'm home and I'm doing some post prep and I see someone on X, AJ Brown was at the fights in Atlantic City. And, I was like, yeah, I went over and I said hello to him. People were like, oh, you're full of shit. You weren't even there. I'm like, I was like, okay, ringside, it's me and Roy Jones Jr. Like, seriously, like, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? I do the broadcast. So, but I just thought it was funny how the guy's hurt. He's not traveling, and people made such a big deal about it. You know,
But of course.
such a big deal about it. Yeah.
But because he's not going to travel. I mean, why not? I mean, this is a whole different situation from a player that we had from the Sixers some years ago. That was completely farce, the way it ended up working out. But who cares? I mean, he's in. What is he supposed to do? He's not going to go on the sidelines and root, so he might stay home. Nursed up the knee.
It's a huge loss tonight, Angel. It's a huge loss, though, offensively for them tonight. I mean, listen, we said it last week. Now, I know, and even Lloyd, our good friend Lloyd Vance, host of Lloyd Vance Insider Football on your network, 102.9, the game in Broad Street South. He said you were texting him, you don't have a good feeling for the game. And I was laughing because I said, I'll throw it out there, man. If they put up a game like say Dallas did, or they don't show up like they haven't for the last month, tomorrow the narrative is going to be, is Sirianni the right fit, right? Is Sirianni on the hot seat? So, listen, man, tonight's game could be a referendum on Hurts, on Sirianni. If they come out flat and they lose this game tonight, the shit's going to hit the fan tomorrow, no doubt.
It is, but I'm still, and I said it on Friday, and believe me, as much as I like to dish out the Dallas fans, I'll take it as well. But I am not feeling whatsoever the win. Period. I'm just not. I'm not convinced. They made the hype video, and I love playing Eagles hype video. Don't get me wrong, love playing them. I just don't believe it. I don't believe that much that I didn't even bother loading up for today's show because I just, all this talk about them saying that, they put their foot off the gas and, we just coasted into the playoffs, blah, blah. No, you didn't. Just stop it. No, you didn't. And I'll get back to that in a second. As first of all, Get a Grip says, Angel, well, hold on. The comments are coming in hot and heavy here. Angel is saying it's the barbershop. Be honest, you had some fun in the club, my guy. Well, unfortunately, it's not a club. But it is, and not the hair club for men either, because all of us still go there for our haircuts. Fuji says, Angel, where's the Bucks helmet in the background? But it's still here. It's on that side. So it's still here. The only difference was I ended up getting the Rely Quest Bow helmet for the services that myself and Dylan went down there to do. Nice. So, but it's still here. It's across from the Bears. Also, Mickey says, Rich, I think the Eagles will take it up the ass tonight. I hope I am wrong. Wow, Mickey, that language, Mickey. I mean, it's a Christian show, Mickey.
What are you doing here, Mick? Would you have a couple hot toddies before you
apparently
locked on with that? I mean, this, can you be a little more graphic? It's a family show.
Yeah, exactly. None of that talk going on around here. Jesus, I'm gonna have to wash my ears out later on. Jeff McClanagan says maybe the NFC is weak. It is, Jeff. It is.
Can I address that for a second?
Sure.
So when Dallas keeps winning 12 games a year and the Eagles started off 10-1, were we really suggesting that?
What, that it was weak?
I think it's almost Monday morning quarterbacking because we have to give credit to Green Bay, right? You have to give credit because at the end of the day, McCarthy and Dak Prescott, they are who we thought they are. They're not winning quarterback / head coach. I don't care what McCarthy did years ago in Green Bay. But when the Eagles were 10-1 and Dallas was, a solid record, everyone was saying, hey, tough division, but you have two bad teams in Washington and the Giants. So I guess my point is I think maybe we overvalued the Eagles based on their start and their record. And now the chickens are kind of coming home to roost a little bit, right? They're kind of coming back down to earth, if that makes sense. I think you can make a case for and against a lot of divisions being weak, right? I mean, the AFC North, Baltimore, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's getting pounced. Cleveland, everyone was saying can make a run to the Super Bowl. They got demolished against Houston, and then Baltimore's got the bye. So I think it's more that Dallas didn't show up and they were ill-prepared, and I think we overvaluated and overhyped up the Eagles a little bit. That's all I'm saying. And in that regard, that's all.
Okay. No, listen, I'm not going to disagree there. Fuji says Tom Brady jersey in the back of the closet, brothers. No, listen, you were here at the house. Slick. There is no Tom Brady jersey in this home, period. None. And don't even say, well, because I didn't see your closet. It doesn't matter. There's nothing there. I'm not that much of an Uber fan when it comes to the Bucks. Get a Grip says it's a huge loss. Also, my thoughts and prayers go to motorcycle rider Carlos Falcone, family who passed due to injury sustained from the Dakar rally on the 7th. Well, God bless. It's never easy, but hopefully he at least rather than I know it's said, and some people might not like it when I say it, but it's instead of being a vegetable all your life, it's better to just go ahead and pass on, because it hurts a family, honest God, even a lot more. Unless it's something that, you can bounce back. It's a whole different story. And pleasantries being exchanged here. As Mickey says, hi, Fuji, how are you? All right. So, no, listen, as spoken here on the show on Friday night, when it came to Green Bay, I didn't see them lighting up as the way they were last night. And they truthfully let the foot off the gas when they were up, 42-15 or something ridiculous like that, 42-14, because Dallas started coming back. We already saw the Green Bay players, defensive guys, taking off their tape, taking off all the safety gear. They put in a second string in there. I mean, whatever it is, I don't know what goes on in Dallas, obviously during the postseason, but obviously it's not a good thing. And then you got to think about it, is it Mike McCarthy? Is it Dak Prescott? AJ and I were going back and forth last night. He felt like it's Dak Prescott, that it's time for him to go. But at this point, okay, so let's just say for all intents and purposes, you get rid of Dak Prescott. I don't even know who the backup is, or maybe they get somebody else in there. But then if you go into the postseason again next year with, let's just say, same record, and they lose again, then who are you going to blame? You're going to blame the next quarterback or McCarthy?
Yeah, no, listen, I get where you're coming from. It's ran its course.
Right.
It's just ran its course. And they're not, one of my best friends is a diehard Dallas fan. And he's like, I'm over it. Even during the game, he's like, this is perfect, because now you can blow it up. You can get rid of the quarterback. You can get rid of the head coach. The worst case scenario, his fear was they win the game and get to the NFC Championship, right? They get to the NFC Championship, and then they extend Mike McCarthy. They extend Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. He's not a clutch quarterback. He doesn't have that playoff clutch gene in him. Mike McCarthy is a good regular season head coach. It's almost like the Marty Schottenheimer. Great in the regular season. You have your demons come playoff time, but Marty was still a great head coach. Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl. Okay, you can't take that away from him. None of this former Super Bowl winning coach. You're always going to be a Super Bowl winning coach, but it's an organizational breakdown and structure. And by the way, can we stop the nonsense? Let's not say Micah Parsons is the next Lawrence Taylor. Can we stop that? Because where was he yesterday? Like, let me check the stats. Where were the big-time playmakers? They were nowhere to be found. Angel, he had Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb were ripping and roaring all season long. They looked like they were in the first day of OTAs, like they weren't on the same page. So that is on the head coach. So when the head coach has your team ill prepared and the defensive coordinator going soft was stupid, just implode it, break it up. You have to start from scratch. It doesn't matter if you brought in a Cousins. It doesn't matter if Cooper Rush came in that game yesterday. It doesn't matter if you bring in a Russell Wilson. It's not working, period. And you have to if you keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, we all know that's insanity. And it just doesn't work.
Nope, it doesn't. One thing, get a grip. I'm skipping your last one. This isn't Friday with the whole. Oh, by the way, since you weren't here on Friday, it's either, I'm pretty sure it was this show. We also did a bonus show last night over on sports radio, a rare one on a Friday night, but we ended up doing one. Myself, Ryan, and Dave. Dave had continued from here into the late Friday evening, but we had. There were comments that were coming back and forth. AJ in San Antonio had one. Get a Grip had one. And it became a comical thing at the very end of it where Get a Grip would say a comment and the show would end. And then AJ quickly popped in with his comment. And then I quickly made a comment there. And so Get a Grip was the last one to make his comment in there. And as soon as I signed off, AJ made his last one. So yeah, we're not going back and forth on that one.
By the way, speaking of AJ, so I posted on Facebook, Cowboys Nation can now turn their attention to the Lakers and the Yankees. What a freaking bunch of frauds. Congrats on winning in July. To come out and be this unprepared is embarrassing. Mike McCarthy just got a meeting reminder for Monday. Wow, Green Bay is cooking today. So I got a lot of comments. So I see this AJ pop up, right? Try rooting for a team for a change instead of regurgitating 27 years of the same anti-Cowboys take that I can hear on the dying terrestrial radio shows that are on life support right now. Dak is a fraud, not the fandom. Get bent. So I'm wondering, I mean, you're hurting the crotch a little bit. Did I offend? I mean, what are we doing here? You got your ass handed to you. You got taken back in the friggin' woodshed. Man the fuck up and take the L and move on, because once again, as you're covering with your 95 Cowboys jersey on, the last time they were actually relevant, deal with it. enjoy the offseason. You still got the Yankees and you still got the Lakers. So I just wanted to kind of throw it out there as well. We don't like to pour salt in the wound. We love the viewers. We love the listeners. But sometimes, Angel, you got to bark back a little bit, right? I mean, get bent. Yeah. Who says that? Do we even use that phrase anymore?
I don't think so. At least not that I remember. For the longest. Listen, we know that Thursdays goes off the rails around here, so you never know. If you have not been here, if this is your first time tonight, first of all, thank you for coming into the Tony Bruno Sports Network, the best sports network on the planet, period. As Miggy says, yes, suck it up, Buttercup. Seriously, get a grip. I'm not even putting yours up here. I'm not putting your comment up there. Everybody else can read his comment. I'm not putting it up there on broadcast radio. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in here to Tony Bruno Sports Network. If it is your first time, don't forget to download the apps. And thank you for listening to myself and Rich Quinones. I am Angel Martinez. He is Rich Quinones here at Martinez Company. If you have not been around on Thursdays we do an off the rails, and it's not something that we put together. It's just whatever's been happening in the moment can end up triggering me, and then poof, it goes off the rails. Usually within the first half hour of the show. I think the last one, we didn't get to it until about 7:15-ish. I think that's when you had Poke the Bear. The last one was about 7:15. So it could happen at the very beginning of the show. You never know. But thank you all for tuning in here as well. Also, don't forget you can listen to us on the app, which is very important to make sure you guys download it on the Apple and or Google Store. Therefore, if you are out and about anywhere, or you happen to be out in Buffalo, freezing your butt off up there in the stands and clearing the snow, thank God for the fans doing so, you can listen to us. Therefore, you can hear the entire lineup, starting with Pete Shepard, who will be back tomorrow. He had a day off today at 7 to 10 in the morning, followed by Default and Luby from 10 to 12. The lunchtime throwback, I guess what I'll call it right now, until a new person comes on. But then from 1 to 3, it is the new LFG show who made their debut last week. Today, Jess Taylor had joined them. It is with Dave Benz and Jim Cosymore. So those guys are on from 1 to 3. Tony and Miss Robin, which you guys heard for the first time back after a 2-week sickness. It's not like they want to be off for 2 weeks, but they're finally back. 3 to 6 p.m., myself and Rich from 6 to 8. And then AJ Johnson with the Bleacher Brothers from 8 to 10 p.m. He closes out the night. Monday through Thursday, he is off on Friday evening. So thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget, you can also call and or text into the show at 844-644-8669, 844-644-8669. Mickey says, before we go into the break here, let's take a look. Into the night with Tony, it is always go off the tracks. Yeah, well, listen, it's a fun show on Friday nights, and hopefully they'll be back this Friday. They'll figure out if they're feeling good enough by the end of the week to be able to do the double duty show from 3 to 6. And then again, when they fire up the show at 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. on No Filter Network. So thank you all for tuning in. You will probably hear some throwback commercials. And then after we get back from the break, we'll talk about a couple more games. Obviously, what this means for Dallas. There is another video I'm going to show up there for Dallas as well. Not a bad one. Not just recapping the season. Not a bad one. So after the break, we'll get into it. And, enjoy some commercials here. The throwback ones are really good. I'm hoping that I don't think my medical one is in there. There is a medical one that's in there. It might have played already earlier today. Hopefully it'll play again. But there's one in there that's my absolute favorite, but it might not be part of this one. So right after this, we'll get back into it. The Tony Bruno Sports Network, Martinez Company with Angel Martinez and Rich Quinones.
You know I got a break.
You're listening to Martinez and Company.
That's right.
On the Tony Bruno Sports Network.
Everybody doesn't like something, but nobody doesn't like Sara Lee. Everybody doesn't like something, but nobody doesn't like Sara Lee.
J-E-L-L. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jello family. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jello family. That's Jello. Yum, yum, yum. Jello pudding. Yum, yum, yum. Jello duck. Tapioca pudding. Yes, sirree.
Pancake cookies. Pancake cookies. Pancake baker, you're a famous man.
Well, all I do is bake them just as good as it can.
What is your secret, Mr. Pancake Man?
I sample them, ladies, one from each pan.
Children stop shoving. There's more in the oven. Hey, Mom!
Put patty cake cookies on the shopping list.
Oatmeal, chocolate chip, and sugar mix. I'm seeing varieties on your market shelf.
Why, they're so good you're lucky I don't eat them all myself.
Patty cake cookies. Patty cake cookies. How to satisfy.
Blue cellophane package, you can see what's inside.
What makes the taste of good teddy bears?
Well, to tell the truth, I sample them, 2 from each pan.
Once upon a time there was an engineer. Choo-choo Charlie was his name, we hear. He had an engine and he sure had fun. He used good and plenty candy to make his train run.
Charlie says, love my good and plenty. Charlie says, really rings the bell. Charlie says, love my good and plenty. Don't know any other candy that I love so well.
Schaefer is the one beer to have when you're having more than one. Schaefer pleasure doesn't fade even when your thirst is done. The most rewarding flavor in this man's world for people who are having fun. Schaefer is the one beer to have when you're having more than one. Yes, Schaefer is the one beer to have when you're having more than one.
Schaefer, the one beer to have when you're having more than one.
Now, back to Martinez and Company
It's always playing in my car.
on the Tony Bruno Sports Network.
Como siempre, gracias a ustedes por siempre estar aquí con nosotros. Empezando el second quarter aquí con nosotros, Carlos Quiñones, Ángel Martínez, Martinez Company. Aquí en el Tony Bruno Sports Network, envían el app para que no se olviden el show. Pueden ir al Google Play, el Android Store. Así pueden escuchar nosotros cada lunes al viernes de las 6 a las 8 de la noche. Y no se olviden que también pueden llamar al show al 844-644-8669. 844-644-8669. Y gracias por siempre estando con nosotros. Y for those who like to hit, as always, what we say here, the bottom half of the hour, quarter number 2. Thank you all for tuning in. We do appreciate, of course, our Latin folks that do tune in from time to time. And don't forget, you guys can download the apps right here on the Tony Bruno Sports Network. Go to the Apple and or Google Play Store, download the apps, and you'll never miss another show again. As we were going into the break here, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mason Rudolph, overthrew and almost intercepted by Buffalo. Did not get the touchdown, but ended up getting the 3. So it is now 21-10 with 8:50 to go in the third as the game is live. Obviously, the Eagles and Bucks right after we sign off here. And for those who look for Lloyd Vance's show on the Lloyd Vance Insider Football on my Sports Radio 102.9 The Game, there will not be a show tonight, but he will be on with us later on this week. Myself and Rich, we always have a great time with Lloyd, so he will be joining us sometime this week as he gives us our recaps. What's he always call it, Rich? There's is Lackey.
Vance's View. He's got the game balls and the Lackey.
There you go. So, and he always has good ones. So stay tuned for that one. Also this week, hopefully on Wednesday, representing the Houston Texans, Big Sarge, great friend of mine, should be on hopefully on Wednesday. He's got he also covers the Houston Rockets, does a great job for the Houston Texans. So he should be joining us here on hopefully on Wednesday, and possibly another guest for representing the Green Bay Packers. I just have to make sure that they have some timeline opened up, obviously, as they're getting bombarded as they moved on to another week. So a couple of guests coming up this week. And then joining me at the top of the hour will be Ryan, as Rich has some duties to take care of. And we're not talking about bathroom duties either, just duties.
We have West Coast broadcasting to be done.
That's
even
right.
though it's 30 degrees. Real quick, where I am. Reed Blankenship, off to the side, pregame warm-ups, running through some things with Avonte Maddox. Look like Reed's going to be inactive. Maddox will start next to Kevin Byard at safety as expected. That's from a guy, Johnny Mack. Yeah, man, everything, right? The domino effect. You mentioned Harbaugh, Belichick, Carroll, Grable. I think McCarthy's gone. I do. And quite frankly, depending upon what happens tonight, how it plays out, I think if the Eagles do not get to the NFC Championship, it is arguably one of the most disappointing seasons in Philly sports history. One of the most disappointing in franchise, I think, history. I don't think it's an overstatement or an overreach, because they started 10-1 and they were pretty much staring down the barrel of home field. Now, granted, if somehow they beat the Lions and Green Bay beats San Fran, then guess what? The Philadelphia Eagles would host the NFC Championship.
Yep. Well, have you also seen the theory that someone put down there? I can't remember who the guy is. I might have to look it up in one of my text messages. But you know how they put out the logo colors?
Yeah.
As soon as the NFL playoffs start for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So now you see, obviously, it's like purple and red.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the last couple years, again, now when the Eagles went, someone pointed out like the very top, it didn't even look anything remotely the Eagle green.
Yeah.
But prior to those two, again,
What do you think, a little conspiracy theory, Baltimore, San Fran?
Yeah.
Reading off the script, the NFL script.
Apparently. So, I mean, listen, the way Detroit played yesterday, San Fran, I mean, they are playing good. You have to go through San Fran. Let's not get that one twisted. You do have to go through San Fran, but the way Detroit was playing yesterday, and it was a solid game. So it wasn't like, you're just giving away the ball. I mean, it was a solid game. And I do have a clip as well from Stafford and, oh my God, was it Rowett and Regard? It'll come to me. Anyways, there's a video clip that shows them talking afterwards, which I thought was pretty cool, because obviously for some folks, they don't forget where Matthew Stafford came from. And he knows, I mean, the season's over. And listen, things happen in the NFL. You get traded, move on, but you have great friends from an organization you were with before. And it's the first time, I believe, him being back in Detroit since the trade, if I do remember correctly. So it was nice to see the guys were telling him, he told the guys congratulations and move on. So I will bring that up here in a little bit. But the one that I do want to get to, and I know it may not be something that, once again, you may like, but it's kind of recapping the Cowboys season. So we'll watch this and we'll come back into it.
Team and Big D. That's what makes this funny. How about the Cowboys? How about the Cowboys? Some way, somehow, when they count, just wait. They will let you down. The accident, they will mess it up. Just wait. The accident, they will let you down. Just wait. The accident, the accident, the accident, waiting to happen. It will happen. I'm predicting they're gonna be irrelevant. I'm predicting an absolute embarrassment for the last decade and a half. They make me laugh. All the talent that they have is unbelievable, man. Big D, teasing you. This is what they do. The weed show up on cue. Accident, something will go wrong. The accident of the big Jumbotron. Accident, gotta recognize it's a black cat running around that franchise. Say it with me. Accident, they will mess it up. Just wait. The accident, they will let you down. Just wait. The accident, the accident, the accident, waiting to happen. It will happen. How about the Cowboys?
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad. That was actually pretty good. Obviously, it took a lot of his sound bites and put it together. Someone put in an audio clip. And then he also talks about, is it time to move on, obviously, from both? Because you have to, there's no way, Rich. Come on. How can you not move on from McCarthy? You can't. You have to move on.
You have to. It's just not working, period. It's just not working. You whether it's going to be Harbaugh, whether it's going to be Belichick, whether it's going to be Grable, it's just not working. I don't know what else to say. Like, there's really nothing more to break down. And it's unfortunate because, well, it's not unfortunate. I mean, we can joke and say, hey, keep these guys around for the next 10 years because they're never
Right.
going to win anything. But I don't think Prescott's a bad quarterback. And I also don't think I think Dallas is a talented team, but there's a disconnect. There's a fracture. There's something wrong within that organization where they just can't get over that hump. And typically what happens, right? You make changes, hence
Correct.
head coach.
Delco Dave, who is with me here on Friday, Real Delco Dave. I love how the NFL always scripts in the Cowboys choking in the playoffs. No matter how many times they use that twist, it gets me every time. It's true. Very, very true. Some pleasantries exchange back and forth here. Get a grip. Delco Dave from Mickey. Mickey introduced himself to everybody. Mickey, the guys, Mickey.
Yeah, exactly.
To put it in easiest terms. But no, well, here's another interesting take. So if, let's just say, Dallas moves on from Dak. Now, Dak's still young, coming up in his, pretty much in his prime years. And Denver, knowing they're going to have to move on from Russell Wilson, does Denver come a calling for Dak?
I text my buddy the same question. I said, would you rather have Russ cooking or Cousins? And he said, give me Cousins.
Ooh.
See, I think if Belichick maybe lands in Washington, I can see Russell Wilson with Washington as a bridge quarterback. I can see maybe Cousins going back to Washington. Remember, Cousins is a free agent.
Right.
He's coming off a major, major injury. And I like Kirk Cousins. I think he gets a bad rap. But it's just when you remove the head coach and you're not sold on the quarterback, see, the quarterback is only taking you so far. And I can't get on the quarterback as much. I mean, yeah, had a bad game, the pick six, here we go. It's just, you go back to the regular season finale, even the Detroit game, man, McCarthy is throwing the football, stopping the clock late. Like this guy, he's just not a good head coach anymore. He doesn't have clock management. Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator. It's just when you lose a game like that to a team you should have beat and you got railroaded, ownership, Angel, I've always said this, when fans are walking out of the stadium in the third quarter, owners don't like to see that.
Right.
Now you do that in the playoffs, they're livid. You do that in the playoffs, if you're Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, changes come. That's it. Changes come.
Yeah, so even though if you remember last week, prior to the playoff game starting, supposedly Jerry Jones said McCarthy's not going anywhere, blah, blah, blah. But Jerry Jones said that a bunch of times, and then it's coming. It's almost a decoy. You're not going anywhere, but you are going somewhere. So and truthfully, I don't even know at this point who would pick up McCarthy. I don't know. I guess he'd go to Carolina because nobody wants to go to Carolina.
Listen, I think Olsen made a comment, if they were to change Mike McCarthy. I'm not necessarily in agreement that anyone would hire Mike McCarthy. And quite frankly, if the Eagles got rid of Sirianni, I'm not on board that another team would take a flyer on Sirianni. That's why I think tonight's game could potentially be a referendum on Sirianni, and I'm going to tell you why. Because of the struggles they've had over the last month of the season, the fracture, infighting, all the nonsense, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, everyone getting banged up, the run-pass ratio, the lack of balance, switching coordinators, going to Patricia, leaks coming out of the building. My gut almost tells me, as crazy as this sounds, that the Eagles put together, it's weird, their best 60 minutes of football tonight.
Right.
Because they can beat Tampa, even without A.J. Brown, right? Because Mayfield's banged up. You have to get him to turn the ball over. You have to get the pass rush. But if Baker Mayfield's in the pocket and they're not making adjustments and he's slinging it to Godwin and slinging it to Evans and they're exploiting that secondary and the Eagles have to play from behind, I think they're going to be in trouble. If they give max effort and they ball out and you actually see good play on the field and say they lose the game on a 55-yard field goal, 21-20 late, you live with it. But if they go out and lose this game 31-13 and they no-show, tomorrow the questions will be, do you believe you're still fit to be the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles? Jeffrey Lurie, can you win with Nick Sirianni? Can you win with Jalen Hurts? So it's a big game tonight for Sirianni and Hurts.
It is. Well, it Hurts. I don't think I would see him go anywhere unless they.
Oh no, I'm just saying in general.
Right. No, I understand that, but because I know there's been people that have said, well, it's time to get rid of Hurts. Well, listen, say whatever you want. The man's been playing well for the last 2 years with the Eagles. So, I mean, you don't get to the Super Bowl without him. So, again, just like with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz gets injured, but you don't get to the Super Bowl without Carson Wentz, no matter which way you look at it. Delco Dave says, you guys think Spags from KC, DC gets any attention as a potential head coach? I don't think so.
Yeah, we've seen it before. It's retreading. It's retreading. That's all it is. It's retreading. I like Spags as a coordinator, not as a head coach. We saw it with the Giants. We saw it with the Rams. Nope.
Yeah. Get a grip to answer your question. No one's scared of the pirate ship. Goodness gracious. Not at all. But hey, Eagles lose. There will be a lot of questions. And I'm not certain or even to say that has that conversation already happened between Jeffrey Lurie and Nick Sirianni.
I go back to the game against Kansas City. Look, man, when you start 10-1 and you drop 5 out of 6 to close out the season, someone's got to answer to that, right?
Right.
And that falls on the head coach. The fact that Patricia was actually calling plays for third down before they totally switched him out to coordinator, that they have no plan. Again, I keep harkening back to the boxing analogy, right? Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. You're a young fighter, you're starting orthodox, and after a round, you go southpaw. You don't have a clue what you're doing. You're not trained properly. It's what I'm seeing with this team right now. But you can kind of put it to rest and you can kind of put it to bed if you win. Look, they still have issues. They're going to have to sign some players. They're going to have to jettison some players. If Hurts struggles tonight, if he's 18 of 35 for 210 and 2 picks, people are going to say, again, is he really a franchise quarterback? Because it's what have you done for me lately, right? Forget about last year. He hasn't played well the last month or so of the season. He's banged up. Everyone's injured. So that's what I'm saying. It's just the defense tonight, for my money, Angel, the defense tonight is going to have to figure out a way to win this game. And you're going to have to give Swift 20 to 25 plus touches. If the defense can't get to Mayfield and get a couple sacks and a couple turnovers, and Swift doesn't get his 20, 25 touches, I don't know how they win this game. It's ball control. I don't know how they're going to win the game tonight. And then tomorrow, boom, you have the questions. It's going to be a ridiculous offseason, I can tell you that.
It is. Get a grip to answer your question. If the Eagles lose, does Howie Roseman get fired by Jeffrey Lurie? No. It's not going to happen.
No.
He's not going anywhere. The conversation will be between Nick, Howie, and Jeffrey Lurie is how the conversation is going to go down. Again, if it hasn't happened already. But once again, Eagles lose. There's nothing saying, and by the way, Buffalo just hit a field goal with 1:32 left here in the third, 24-10 Buffalo over Pittsburgh. Speaking about, and we'll get back here to the Eagles, Mike Tomlin, Rich, obviously, he's the same thing. I don't think either. I don't think he may not be going anywhere from Pittsburgh, but if a team comes a calling and Mike Tomlin kind of takes a look and says, you know what, maybe I've done everything I possibly could here in Pittsburgh, do I start looking elsewhere?
It depends what happens tonight, right? I mean, if they lose this game, people will make the case that he overachieved and he's never had a losing record and they're going to hang their hat on that. And he's won a Super Bowl before. Mike Tomlin, there'll be 31 teams looking for Mike Tomlin. I think he's a good head coach, but I also think maybe his message has fallen on deaf ears. I mean, you listen to Sports Talk Radio in Pittsburgh, they're chastising the guy. They want to change. Bill Belichick won 6 Super Bowls with New England. Mm-hmm. They were killing him on EEI. They want to change. I mean, it happens. I tweeted this out. Every coach has a shelf life. It doesn't matter who you are. Tom Landry, 88, after 30-something years, wearing the hat on the sideline, right? Every coach has a shelf life. I don't believe any coach is immune to it. And sometimes they want to go in a different route. I mean, look, McVay was the toast of the NFL. McVay got out-coached big time last night.
Yep.
From bite your kneecaps, right? And by the way, so happy for Jared Goff. This guy got crushed, man. And then you go back and you stick it to the team that basically told you to take an F and walk.
Yep.
Good for you. Great
job. The only thing I would love to cap that would be a Super Bowl championship for Detroit. I would have.
So would I. I have a futures bet that they get to the Super Bowl. So yeah, I would love that.
that would be the best one to get. And matter of fact, I would frame it and send them. I would put it all over LA as a billboard.
Nice.
Just put it out there. Okay, you guys started having into me, huh? It's going to happen. Very humble guy. You don't see he doesn't talk trash. You never see him overhype himself. Nothing. Goes in, plays a game, does what he has to do. And that's what I think one of the better things from Jared Goff. Buffalo here with 1:22 left, making a huge stop on Pittsburgh. Almost again got the interception. Mason Rudolph, who's absolutely horrific. That's why he's a third string quarterback. He's not. I don't see any other team other than Pittsburgh keeping him around because it's all you are is a third string at this point. You're not going to resurrect your career.
Pickett's not a bona fide starter.
No, he's not.
Either, right?
But yeah, but he's at least better than what you call it.
Well, I mean, you had no one else. You had to turn to him, right? I mean, everyone's gonna. It's just. Listen, man. These coaches, everyone wants a quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not winning the NFL. And again, you might see McCarthy out. You might see Tomlin. We don't know what's going to happen tonight, but that conversation is going to be had, as you said. Maybe it's already being talked about behind.
I think so. I think so. As we're quickly coming up here to the top of the hour. By the way, get a grip. No one cares whether Big Dom is back in the side. No one cares. It's just an old story. No one really actually truly gives a crap. Mike Klein, the CEO president of Philly of the South, he says the full house at Tampa Joe's, wall to wall, green and silver. I mean, listen, that's great. And why yesterday again they had a good party down there. 0 Bucks fans. Listen, Mike. Even when the Bucks are playing by themselves, no one shows up.
That's
the only
funny.
time I think and I don't think I've ever mentioned this on Martinez Company, but years ago, there was when the Bucks played overseas, when they played in England.
Yeah.
So they had the local NBC affiliate was there. Budweiser at the time I think it was Bud Light. So they came out, they had to get the permits, whatever, blah, 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 to be able to pass it out prior to the bar officially opening. The only reason why the Bucks fans showed up was because they gave away free swag. They also gave away free Bud Lights. And there was one more thing too. The minute the Bud Light stopped, and Debbie and I were sitting outside because we were waiting for the Eagles game was coming on right after that, and I was getting ready to do my broadcast. The minute that the first Bucks fan heard that the Bud Lights are out, they were out. And I mean, there were still half of the game still to go. So yeah, Bucks fans, you guys don't represent well. I hate to say it. You guys just don't represent well. There's 2 names up there. I have no idea what in the world they mean. So I don't know. Sorry. They know.
By the way, I'll give you real quick on the record. I'm going to go 23, 17 bucks.
17 bucks.
Yep. So you can hold me to it tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
I'll make sure I do it. All right. I will. Well, this is going to be a quick switch around because there will not be any commercials as the top of the hour. Hold on. Mickey has one question before we take off here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mickey says, Rich, do you really think Pete Carroll wanted to step down?
No, I don't. It's I think it was more of we'll make it easier for you if you want to stay within the organization. He's 72, but he's a young 72, and he's not going back to college. But no, I don't think anyone really wants to step down, to be honest with you, right? Coughlin really didn't want to step down.
Correct.
But, again, it's all about change sometimes. Change is good, right? So 23-17, you guys hold me to it tomorrow, and I'll take the heat.
All righty.
Win 31-13.
All right. Well, we are coming up here at the third quarter, top of the hour. Martinez coming. Don't forget the phone lines are still open. You can call or text the show, 844-644-TONY, 844-644-8669. Also, do not forget to download the apps on the Google or Apple Store, as Google and Android are both in the same. And also, Pete Shepard will be back tomorrow morning. Pete will be on from 7 to 10 a.m., followed by Default and Luby from 10 to 12. The best of between 12 and 1. And then our latest and greatest show, LFG, with Dave Benz and Jim Cosymore, along with Jess Taylor. They're on from 1 to 3, Tony and Miss Robin will be back from 3 to 6 p.m. as they were today, tomorrow from 3 to 6 p.m. Rich and I back with you, Martinez Company from 6 to 8 p.m. And then AJ Johnson and the Bleacher Brothers from 8 to 10 p.m. So we'll do a couple of quick screen changes here. So you may see the home screen for a second. Don't fret. We're not going anywhere. And we'll be right back right after this.
Now it's here. TBSN, the Tony Bruno Sports Network.
Make some noise!
Tune in at 7 a.m. and hear Pete Shepard till 10. And then Defo and Luby from 10 a.m. till noon. And then the man himself, Tony Bruno, and the Tony Bruno Show starts at 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Martinez and Company from 6 p.m. to 8. And we've got more to come. The Tony Bruno Sports Network. Download the app. Tell your friends the game is on. TBSN.
I'm better, so much better now. I see the light, touch the light, we're together now. I'm better.
Welcome back to Martinez Company as Ryan is bobbing his head. Yes, it says Rich Quinones on the room, but it is Ryan F. And by the way, I've not done this to anyone, but I think Ryan's going to have to get the first violation ever on the show. And I will tell you why. Because he has this amazing backdrop, and then it's not there tonight. Excuse me, sir. No, I'm not talking about Palacious Pallet out there in Bristol, PA. Where is your backdrop, sir?
It's somewhere in the closet.
I'm waiting for it, and you come back, and then, okay, it's back to the palace. I see how it is. All right, I got you. Ryan, how are you, sir?
Angel, I'm fantastic. It's great to be with everybody. I'm Ryan Neff, not Rich Quinones. Good to see everybody here online. Mike, Michaela Stopia, Mickey Delaney, Get a Grip, otherwise known as Dylan Spalding. Yeah, lot to get into. I don't know what you guys have been talking about. I've been watching this Buffalo-Pittsburgh game. Pittsburgh's on the move. It's 24-10. Yep. Buffalo kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit, so I still expect Buffalo to win, though.
Yeah, I've been trying to do a refresh here back and forth as obviously between the show and make sure I can try and keep up as much as I possibly can. Mason Rudolph dumps one off. Looks for a good 12-yard gain. 1st and 10, 13:26 left in the fourth, 24-10 as you were saying there. One thing is, I'm going to get back here and I'll kind of update you everything that's going to go on here. But Get a Grip says, I wouldn't say that. I think we represent well. We just may not show in the same way the Eagles fans do. Listen, come on. Let's. The only time, Ryan, one thing is about the Bucs fans down here, right? Like you had the free giveaway. I can't remember if it was this morning. It might have been yesterday. Anything that's the word relation to free, that's when Bucs fans show up. That's it. And any other time, listen, throughout the, you know as much as I know, being back in Pennsylvania, I don't care if it's Pittsburgh fans or Philly fans, Eagles fans. It could be baseball season, NCAA season, whatever it is, you always run into somebody either with an Eagles hat, Pittsburgh hat, jersey, whatever you want to call it. Baseball season, same thing. Here, football season, I honest to God can count in one hand how many jerseys I see the entire year, not just during football season. So Bucs fans don't even show up. I think, matter of fact, the only time they really showed up was after the Super Bowl, and that was about it. And that lasted about a week. So not for nothing, Bucs fans. You guys just don't show up. You really don't.
Well, Tampa Bay fans have really never been a rabid fan base. I mean, back in the early 2000s, when John Gruden was there and they won a Super Bowl, yeah, they had some decent teams. But again, they don't like turn in and turn out like all the time.
Correct.
Like year in and year out. No matter if it's, Pittsburgh fans turn out whether they suck or whether they're good. Philadelphia fans still show whether they suck or whether they're good. there's just certain fan bases that just don't have that kind of turnout.
That's correct. That is true. Get a grip comes back with Rich Q. Looks different. Good to see you, Ryan. What a wise guy, huh? And then, yeah, boy. Okay. Well, whatever. No, but listen, we mentioned a lot about Dallas, and they've obviously, whether they move on or not from McCarthy, that's the one big thing. Last night, I know between you, myself, and Dave, we're kind of going back and forth in there with the whole Dallas thing. And to me, there's got to be a point, and I'm almost certain last year on Broad Street South, we had mentioned the same exact thing, that it was time for McCarthy to go. And yet they hung around. They gave him another year. So fast forward a year later, for those who don't know, myself and Ryan, we do a show over on Broad Street South. Has changed, obviously, since coming over from Martinez Company, but we fired it back up Friday, matter of fact, a special Friday episode where we had a lot of fun. And thank you guys for the comments. Agent San Antonio after the show, nice compliment saying that he really enjoyed the show. But we talked about it last year. Am I not correct? Well, we mentioned that after that whole thing, that McCarthy should have been gone. So now it's a year later, Ryan, and I know you didn't have a chance to put your opinion in there. Is it time now for him to go?
Look, I went on a rant yesterday on a show over on No Filter Network that I do called End Zone to End Zone. Delco Dave joined me yesterday, and I went on a rant about, look, people are going to bitch about Dak.
Touchdown Pittsburgh.
Okay, yeah, I see that. People are going to bitch about Dak. They're going to bitch about Mike McCarthy. But until the old man either kicks off, he sells the team, or he lets Steven run the show, this is what it's going to be like every year. Because I hear people talking about Bill Belichick being the next coach or Jim Harbaugh. They're not going to want to put up with that shit. Not with that owner. You ran Bill Parcells off after 3 years. And it's pathetic. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and getting the same result. And that's what Jerry Jones does. So he can get rid of Mike McCarthy. Who's he going to go after? You're going to go after Belichick? You're going to go after Harbaugh? Hell no. They're not going to come there. They don't want to put up with that. So again, Jerry Jones is going to be 82 years old. And I've been saying this every year since the 96-97 season, Angel. As a former Cowboys fan, I've been saying this. Jerry Jones will never put a coach in place or football people in place because he had that in Jimmy Johnson.
Right.
And Jimmy Johnson took all the credit for building those teams. And Jerry Jones couldn't handle it. So he went out and hired the Chan Galeys of the world. And he went out and hired the Jason Garretts of the world. And, other guys that were puppets. So Mike McCarthy should be gone. Whether he is, who are you going to go out and get? I mean, seriously, who else are you going to go out and get? Be careful what you wish for. And people can dump on Dak. They can dump on Mike McCarthy. They can dump on Dan Quinn. Look, yesterday, that wasn't an ass kicking. That was a bludgeoning. And I can tell you what happened, Angel. Dallas is like, we're 12-5. We won the division. It's home cooking. We can just show up. We can do X, Y, and Z, and we're going to win the football game. When you've got people coming out saying after the game, we weren't prepared. No shit. No kidding. You don't want to hear that from your coaches. You don't want to hear from your players. I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of talking about it. And again, Cowboy fans, rise up. Stay at home. Save your money. You can watch this crap out in the comforts of your own abode on your couch, and you save a fortune. But what do Cowboy fans do, Angel? They pack that stadium, and they spend all that money, and what do? It's the same result year in and year out for 28 years. And I know I'm ranting, and I'm just going to leave it like this. The Dallas Cowboys are in the same company as the Washington Redskins, who haven't made the Super Bowl since 91-92.
Right.
Minnesota hasn't made it since the 76-77 season, and Detroit's never made it. That's the company that you now keep. You're irrelevant, and you got to stop living off the past, because what's past is past. It's just going to be like this year in and year out until that old man says, you know what? Yeah, my way ain't working, and it's never going to happen.
Yeah. All good, solid points. But as we move on now, which, of course, I'm pretty sure you now appreciate your resurrected Kansas City Chiefs looked a lot better than they've had, I would say, the last 4 out of 5 weeks. Definitely not better. Travis, you got to think about is Travis Kelce. I'll start off with this. There's a video I want to play that, they had talked about Andy Reid and his mustache obviously freezing over. But Kelce just doesn't look himself. And it looks like he's slowed down. I know he had contemplated last year about retiring. And listen, it's hard. I understand as an NFL athlete, especially in your prime, you have everything going for you. It's tough. It's extremely, extremely hard to say, is this really it for me? Now, it doesn't help with the constant Taylor Swift distractions. I mean, how many shots can you possibly show to the point now where everybody's getting sick of it? The funny thing is that the regular media can't say anything because then they're shunned. Like Joe Coy made a commercial or made some funny thing or whatever it was during the Golden Globes. Apparently that Taylor Swift is upset because they haven't had enough camera shots on her tonight as they do with the Kansas City game. And then, oh my God, his career is done. It's over. That's it. It's ridiculous. You should be able to say whatever you want to, as long as you're not saying anything. And believe me, I'm not hating on Taylor Swift. I enjoy her music. Obviously she takes care of her. I will say this much. Every person that works for Taylor Swift, she takes care of, and she takes care of them handsomely and royally, because she gave away some good bonus checks with the people that she was on tour, because she has like 12 trucks or something ridiculous that comes around to put all this stuff together. But she does a great job. The thing is just, obviously the window was foggy. It was one of the colder games in the NFL. They showed that shot. And then obviously they showed her dancing in the booth when Kansas City scored. I mean, and then she shows up and everybody puts out there, oh my God, I want a Kelce jacket, just like Taylor Swift's. Okay, how about we get back to the game? Enough. And there's been more commercials and more distractions by KC, more than I've ever seen before. But Kelce, I think he's really got to say it, Ryan. If they don't make it to the Super Bowl this year, and you said that they don't believe they'll make it, obviously they got a tough road still. It's not an easy path. But at the end of the day, let's say Casey gets eliminated next week. Does Kelce finally say, you know what, I'm going to take a little bit of time off, and it's probably time for me to hang up the cleats?
Well, I mean, he's already come out and said that he's coming back for 2024. At least he wants to. So, look, I think it's going to come out after the season. He's not going to say anything. He's been playing hurt all year. You can see it. He hasn't been focused. The drop passes and he's admitted it. He's admitted that it's been a down year for him. Whether do you talk about Taylor Swift, the whole 9 yards. Everybody has a private life, but in the social media age, it just gets exacerbated because people got their cell phones and are constantly taking pictures and are constantly putting stuff on social media. So, if Andy Reid retires, I think Travis might go, we had a good run. Maybe I'll, follow my coach and, ride off into the sunset. Now, still a lot of football to be played this year. Obviously Pittsburgh's only down 7. If Pittsburgh wins this game, then Pittsburgh goes to Baltimore next week, and then Houston comes to Kansas City. And if Buffalo wins, then Kansas City has to go to Buffalo, and then Houston goes to Baltimore. So, hey, maybe they make another run. I don't know, but we'll see with Kelce. I think he's playing hurt. I think he's not letting on how bad he's hurt. Remember he got hurt in the preseason,
right?
And he missed the first game. And I think he's just been battling injuries like all year long, and he's just not saying anything. But whether he retires or not, Jason Kelce says the same thing. He's been saying the same thing for like the last 3 years, and he keeps coming back. So
yeah, but he did say this year though, that's it for him. He's done, regardless if they win a Super Bowl or not, which they're not. But if he said that's it, it's a wrap for him. And again, those who are watching over at Tampa Joe's, I hope you guys are having a great time out there. Mike Goodwin's group, always a fantastic time at Tampa Joe's. And it's not for I'm just being a realist. I just don't feel this win. I don't feel it. Earlier during the year, when they came to Tampa and they beat Tampa, yep, you know what? I felt it. I even said it to AJ from the aftermath when he was on with us on Friday. But I'm not feeling this win. Not the way the Eagles have carried themselves. Between the injuries right now, it's just there's nothing that convinces me at this point that they'll pull off the win. But that being said, Casey yesterday played a lot better. Obviously, we saw Mahomes' helmet crack. I'm pretty sure a lot of it had to do with those frigid temperatures as well. They were saying how one broke, the other one didn't. One thing that I didn't even think about when somebody made a great point was because apparently he did another play afterwards. Then they went and they changed it. But I didn't even really think about if someone's finger actually, just on a block or whatever, would actually gotten jammed up in there. I mean, you're talking about probably a pretty gruesome injury because if you're going down and his head's twisting one way, that finger and hand's going pretty much another way. So I don't know if there was much to learn with obviously these new helmets and the frigid temperatures, the way it worked out yesterday. All I know was that you had to be insane to be out there at Arrowhead Stadium. I'm sorry. You could not pay me or buy me the ticket to go out there because for me, first of all, you're freezing. I know they said they had like places where the fans can come and warm up, but why would you want to warm up, honest to God, because you're going to get cold all over again. So for me, if you're going to suffer, you might just suffer through it because it's just bad. It's just as bad as Buffalo. The fans came out there, they gave them $20 an hour, they gave them food and stuff like that. But they also told the fans, hey, a lot of you guys are just going to have to sit in the snow in your seats. But everybody's been enjoying it. They threw snowballs in the air when the game first started, which I thought was pretty cool. But of course, they're going to talk about Philly. They're not going to mention this. Oh, look, they're just throwing them up in the air. They got to bring Philly into it all the time. But, it's just, listen, God bless those folks out there. Right there, you would not catch me dead in frozen Gia Stadium.
Well, then you had the liquored up idiots who were, nothing up here. They had no shirts on, anything. You could tell they were liquored up. That's the only way that they could stay warm. They probably had a bottle of whiskey with them somewhere, sipping on a bottle of whiskey, keeping warm. But look, you've got to be a whole lot of crazy to sit through that. But, and the stadium wasn't fully packed.
Right.
If you ever took notice to it, some people were just not going to venture out into that weather. For some, it's too dangerous to do that. So, but again, the fans that did show up that was probably the most complete game that I've seen Kansas City play all year. We know about their defense. I think their offense did just enough. I mean, if Kansas City can put up 27 points a game in the playoffs and turn it over to their defense, I think they can make a deep run. Now, if Buffalo wins this game and Kansas City has to go to Buffalo, I mean, Kansas City's already lost to Buffalo once this year. So that'll be a tall task. But yeah, I mean, I sat in one game like that years and years ago. The old Houston Oilers were playing the Philadelphia Eagles way back in, I think it was like 1978, 79 season. And my cousin, who was like 17 years older than me, took me to the game. And I think it was like 10 degrees, with a wind chill of 0, and I was bundled up. I was like big time bundled up. And I swore to myself, if it ever gets to 15 degrees or below, I ain't going to the game.
Yeah. It's just that you got to figure, I mean, your lungs have to work twice as hard. It's just like people, how many times do they say, by the way, 7-10 left, 24-17 still in the fourth. Buffalo's still up by 7. The one thing that cracks me up is, and we hear this when in the summertime, when it's above 90 degrees, don't go out and run. If you're going to do it, wait until it's either go before the sun comes up or after the sun goes down. Because same thing, your lungs have to work twice as hard. The blood has to flow twice as hard. But you have some people, there's nothing wrong. Baloney. They had one fan, he was completely covered up, but when the camera came around, he quickly took this down, and you could almost see the instant freeze on his face, and he pulled it right back up like, oh, wait a minute, it's too cold out here. And then they also showed the vendors, they brought out the bottle of smart water, and as soon as they took it, now, mind you, those freezers usually stay between 32 to 34 degrees. As soon as they brought it out, it instantly froze. So that goes to show you just, how cold it was. So, yeah, I mean, it was dangerous. I know you made a point with Buffalo because of that snow that they had yesterday. It was completely different. They had to move it because there was no way in the world you're going to be able to play in that. But the same way with the cold temperatures, granted, it was just as cold in Detroit, but the difference is you're in an indoor stadium versus being outdoors. The one thing that I will say that I appreciated more than anything else yesterday, not because they played the game, because of all these scalpers that go out there and buy all these tickets, guess what? You got screwed because you decided you're going to take away from the fan experience and buy about 5,000, tickets, and now you couldn't even dump them for $30. So, yeah, you get exactly what you deserve. But there is a video that I want to show because obviously for everyone who watched the game yesterday, you can see that Andy Reid's walrus mustache had icicles on there. So someone captured the video and they put it out there today. So here is Andy Reid.
Exposed skin, extremities, and mustaches starting to show the effects of 7 Below.
Huh? I'm gonna defrost it right here. I got defrosted mustache.
Right? I like the look.
No, that's frozen. Huh? It's frozen.
Incredible. Listen, I could never say, unfortunately, anything bad about Andy Reid because, listen, he was well loved in Philly. It didn't finish out the way he wanted it to in Philadelphia, but God bless him, man. He's won 2 rings. It could be possibly on his way to a 3rd. Also could be looking at going to retirement. Honestly, I think once I got my 2nd ring, I've done everything that I needed to do in the NFL. I would have just been like, you know what, guys, I love you. I really do. But I'm going out on top. So even if he leaves the season, I guess kind of partially you go out on top. But I think I still would have rather ended it last year when I knew I was guaranteed to get that ring, go and celebrate, talk to the family, say, you know what, it's time. He knows Andy's got his ticket anywhere around the NFL after he's done. If he still wants to hang around, he could be coming at us. He knows he's going to be everywhere. By the way, and also, am I not crazy? But wasn't the great Tom Terrific supposed to be on air this past season from Fox and all those millions upon millions of dollars that they gave to him? And I didn't see him on air not one time.
I think it starts next year. I think I think he's under contract starting in the 2024 season.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I stand corrected.
You got a Super Bowl ring?
I sure do.
Do you?
Yeah, sure do. As a matter of fact, it's in the room. But I do have one. Matter of fact, I've worn it out to Tampa Joe's and people have taken pictures. So yes, get a grip. I do.
When it comes to Andy Reid, though, Angel, I think it's been reported out there that the rumors are, win or lose this year, as whatever the run's going to be, whether they make it to the AFC Championship game, make it to the Super Bowl and win another one. The word out there is that he is probably going to retire after this year, regardless of what the outcome is. Now, he might have a change of heart once he takes some time off and he goes on vacation. And
right.
But again, he's got nothing left to prove. Successful coach. He's been to Super Bowls. He's won 2 of them. He's been to NFC Championship games. He's been to AFC Championship games. But again, he's only in his early to mid 60s. So, again, maybe he has a change of heart once he talks it over with the family. And look, anybody who knows about the family life with Andy Reid, the man has had it rough.
Yep.
So, he may just decide this is it.
Yep, it is. By the way, Buffalo just pulled ahead. 6:27 to go, 31-17. I don't know if it was an interception run back for a touchdown because obviously we are live on air. I missed out on it, but I do know they did get 7. And Pittsburgh has the ball right now on their own 25-yard line. 6:21 to go here. Live content here on the digital broadcast airways that we call the Tony Bruno Sports Network. Get a Grip says, when Andy Reid retires, are you and Andy going to share a cheeseburger together like Lady and the Tramp style? And that's for you, Ryan. That ain't for me.
If I were to be able to pull off a cheeseburger with Andy Reid, I could probably just die. Mark the, check it off, and that'll never happen. No, that'll never happen. No,
unfortunately not.
Nope.
It wouldn't. No, but listen, obviously somebody's limping off for KC. I mean, there's a lot riding on. I think honestly this year as well, we'll pretty much end the talk here as we're coming off the bottom of the hour here into the 4th quarter. Martinez Company. I think, honestly, I've never seen so many commercials from KC. I mean, it's just how much do you, and I believe, even Mahomes got to the point where he got tired of it because he wants to get back to, and a lot of this stuff is done during the offseason. But even still, you got to figure during the offseason, a lot of these guys are trying to rest up now. And it was multiple commercials. So it's not like they did just one. It was multiple commercials they ended up doing. I just think there was too much. And again, I'm over the T Swift thing. Honest to God, I'm over it. Just, stay in the mansion, do your thing. You're getting ready to go overseas anyways. So whatever. Just go do your thing.
Well, to the victors go the spoils, right? I mean, it happens with every Super Bowl team is going to have the distractions because advertisers are going to start tugging at you, and this person over here starts tugging at you, and then you date a famous, singer and T Swizzle, Tony Romo, it was Carrie Underwood, or not Carrie Underwood, it was like Jessica Simpson. So, again, sometimes when you win a Super Bowl and that starts to happen and you get back to camp, the coaching staff sort of has to say, we got to reel it back in, guys. We got to reel it back in. We've got a great win a Super Bowl last year, but it starts all over this year. Just like you position yourself during the regular season, and when you get to the playoffs, Angel, the regular season doesn't matter anymore. Everybody's 0-0 in the playoffs. Cowboys found that out yesterday. And let me just say one. You were talking about Mike McCarthy. Let me just say this about Dak real quick. The thing that bothered me about Dak yesterday, and the second interception that he threw, the pick six that came back for the touchdown, the second one. The first one was, okay, the defender made a great play on it. Maybe Dak shouldn't have thrown it. If you go back and take a look at the second interception, and you can find the video, focus on Dak. He throws the interception, and he stands there. He doesn't make an effort to try to run the guy down. He just stands there.
Right.
That's how you know you quit. Because I think it was last year when Geno Smith threw an interception in Seattle. Guess who got on his high horse? DK Metcalf came out of nowhere from the end zone and sprinted 80 yards to make the tackle. That's the difference between somebody who cares about where they're playing, putting forth the effort, and somebody that gets rattled and just quits. So, they showed the video a couple of times yesterday, and all you got to do is draw a circle around where Dak is. He throws it, and then he goes like this.
Maybe he was distracted. Listen, who knows? It was just that type of season for what it was. As we're quickly coming up here on the commercial break, Get a Grip says, when the Eagles season ends tonight, are you focused on the Philadelphia Soul season kicking off? I'm just happy they're coming back. Honest to God, Get a Grip. I really am. And then he follows up with also rip to the Philadelphia Stars. Our great friend Blob, the Stars mascot, will be missed. I couldn't even believe they actually named that freaking mascot the Blob. Dylan had me cracking up when he first had said it originally, just because it just the way he was saying it was like the Blob, it's whatever. I thought, so I haven't taken a look at all the teams from the UFL, but I thought they were going to hang around. I guess they decided to hang up the cleats, huh?
I guess. I don't. If it's not the NFL, man, I don't follow it. You know what I mean?
Why I haven't, only because obviously it's been the NFL this whole entire time. But I'll get caught up with it and figure out which teams are there. But yeah, I'm glad. I'm really glad that the Philly Soul's coming back. I was there for the back-to-back ones, and I'm glad before I left Philly that was one of the ones that I had fun. And the only arena game, football game, you can actually go for $10 even during the Arena Bowl. That made it even better. So you guys will end up enjoying some more vintage commercials. Darn it. The one that I like is not in there. Now that I'm fast forward looking through it. But anyways, enjoy the vintage commercials. Don't forget, you are listening to the Tony Bruno Sports Network, that we are always here to make you laugh, sometimes cry, sometimes butt hurt. But for the most part, we just enjoy you guys around and having the company around. But starting the morning off, Pete Shepard will be back tomorrow morning from 7 to 10 a.m., followed by Default and Luby from 10 to 12. Then the best of between 12 and 1, because the newest show, LFG, with Dave Benz, Jim Cosymore, and Jess Taylor, is from 1 to 3 p.m. here on the Tony Bruno Sports Network, followed by Tony and Miss Robin on the Tony Bruno Show from 3 to 6 p.m. Myself and Rich Ryan, nice enough to fill in for Rich for the rest of this evening here on Martinez Company from 6 to 8 p.m. And don't forget, right behind us is AJ Johnson from the Bleacher Brothers from 8 to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday on the Tony Bruno Sports Network. The phone lines and text lines are still open. You guys can do so at 844-644-TONY, 844-644-8669. We will talk to you some more right after these commercials.
You know I got a brand.
You're listening to Martinez and Company.
That's right.
On the Tony Bruno Sports Network.
I love Baco. It's rich in chocolate tea. Chocolate flavored Baco is mighty good for me. Mama puts it in my milk for extra energy. Baco gives me iron and sunshine vitamin D. Oh, I love Baco. That's the drink for me.
Yo-ho, yo-ho, brush, let's all lather, boys, whichever you've the notion. 50 cents for shaving cream, $1 for the lotion. Old Spice means quality, said the captain to the bosun. So look for the package with the ship that sails the ocean. Yo-ho, yo-ho.
Got the time, we've got the beer, Miller beer. Miller tastes too good to hurry through, but when it's time to relax, Miller stands clear, beer after beer. If you've got the time, you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt and grime and grease in just a minute.
Mr. Clean will clean your whole house and everything that's in it.
Floors, doors, walls, halls, white sidewall tires and old golf balls.
Sinks, stoves, bathtubs he'll do. He'll even help clean laundry too.
Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt and grime and grease in just a minute.
Mr. Clean will clean your whole house and everything that's in it.
Can he clean a kitchen sink?
Quicker than a wink.
Can he clean a window sash?
Faster than a flash.
Can he clean a dirty mirror?
He'll make it bright and clear.
Can he clean a diamond ring?
Mr. Clean cleans anything.
Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt and grime and grease in just a minute. Mr. Clean will clean your whole house and everything that's in it. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
There's just one Schlitz, yeah, nothing else comes near. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer. If you like it light with a big taste too, there's only one brew that will do. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer. Real gusto in the great light beer Schlitz.
Now, back to Martinez and Company.
It's always playing in my car.
On the Tony Bruno Sports Network.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter. What is Martinez Company? Angel Martinez And filling in for Rich Quinones right now is Ryan Neff. Martinez Company, you guys can hear us Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Tony Bruno Sports Network. Do not forget to download the apps so you guys will not miss a show. Go to the Google Store, the Apple Store, download the apps, tell your friends because it is the best sports network on the planet. So just don't forget that. Also, the phone lines, the text lines are still open, 844-644-TONY, 844-644-8669. This game's just about all the way over. 31-17, 2 minutes left in the fourth. Looks like Buffalo will advance, and the NFL has just announced the divisional round schedule. As we look at it right now, Saturday, January 20th, the AFC game at 4:30 p.m. would be Houston at Baltimore and/or KC. For that matter, now, call me nuts, but you figure, well, you have to wait for this game to be over here. Then the 8:15 game will be Green Bay Packers obviously at San Fran. That should be a really good matchup. If Green Bay played the way they played against Dallas, that should be a really good game. Also, Sunday, January 21st at 3 p.m., the winners between the Eagles-Tampa game will be at Detroit at 3 p.m. That's going to be hard. Even if the Eagles survive tonight, even, and I mean a long even, you're not beating Detroit. Sorry, folks, fans, whatever. AFC game, 6:30 p.m. Again, waiting the winners here because either the Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills or the Steelers at Baltimore, as Ryan talked about. And, of course, then Sunday, the January 28th, would be the AFC NFC Championship game. So, yeah, this game is just about pretty much just about over. Looks like Buffalo is going to go for a field goal. It's up, and it's shanked. So they no good on a field goal attempt.
Still doesn't matter. It's over.
It is. Doesn't matter. Pittsburgh going to celebrate anyways. So, nonetheless, it was missed. Mason Rudolph, it's just a bad game overall. So, was it hit? No, just a bad kick altogether. All right. So, as the NFL rumors and coachings are going out there, it looks like the Seahawks, and this came from 2 hours ago from Pro Football Talk, have requested an interview with Mike Kafka. As stated here, the list of Seahawks head coaching candidates continue to grow on Monday. Adam Schefter of ESPN reports that they have requested an interview with Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka. They are the second team to show interest in Kafka this cycle, and he's already been interviewed by the Titans. The Seahawks also requested interviews with Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris, and Panthers defensive coordinator Lihiro Ivero, and Dolphins offensive coordinator Frank Smith on Monday. They announced that Pete Carroll would not return as the team's head coach last Wednesday. Kafka just wrapped up his second season with the Giants. He was on the Chiefs staff for 5 years before joining the NFC East club. Is he ready?
I mean, is Seattle attractive? Is it an attractive job to go to Seattle right now? Geno Smith is in flux. The defense isn't what it used to be. The offense has pieces. You have DK Metcalf, but look, Tyler Lockett's older. The running back situation there is in flux as well. So Dan Quinn's stock took a hit yesterday with that abysmal performance by that defense. So is Dan Quinn still going to get, offers? Probably. Interviews? Probably. 36 years old, be a head coach in the NFL. I don't know. Sean McVay, got a head coaching job, and he was no older than what this guy is. So it remains to be seen who winds up in Seattle. I'm sure Seattle will go after whoever at this point. And, the name that's not popping up is Eric Bieniemy yet again. So maybe Eric Bieniemy will become the coach somewhere at some point. But, again, he keeps getting passed over. So
yeah, but don't you think, Ryan, he should stay with KC? Because, was he not, in all seriousness, was he not going to be the one that would be next in line after Andy Reid if he would stay there?
I don't think he and Patrick Mahomes got along all that well.
Really?
To be honest with you. The last couple of years, they had their spats on the sidelines. And, I think Eric just wanted to get out of the shadow of both Patrick and Andy. It's not like the Commanders suck this year offensively. I mean, their quarterback is inconsistent, but it's not like they don't have pieces there either. They got a great slew of running backs. They've got a decent wide receiver core. Their defense, now they traded half their defense away during the season, but I don't know if he thinks he's going to get the Commanders head coaching job at some point, or if maybe Carolina comes calling. I don't know, but for some odd reason, he keeps getting passed over. But as far as Seattle goes, I don't know. I think Seattle is an organization that is sort of like on the back end of obviously that Pete Carroll era, and now they're going to have to rebuild again. But again, it's not like they don't have pieces in place, but Geno Smith from last year to this year, he regressed doing Geno Smith things again.
Yeah. Will he still be there next year for Seattle?
Who?
Geno.
After the year that he just had, I don't know. But again, Angel, look, you take a look at the quarterbacks in the National Football League. Who are you going to go get?
I know. There's not. I'm stopping you because I feel the same way. Like there's not. Look at Joe Flacco yesterday. I mean, you went on a good run, and I'm pretty sure Cleveland Browns fans were feeling like, wow, finally, we can get there. And then poof, the bottom just completely fell out. And CJ Stroud, I just want to know how many Carolina Panthers fans are saying, wait, we passed up on what? There's no way. How would you pass up on CJ Stroud? And then D'Amico Ryan's coming in. Usually, Debbie and I were talking about this yesterday, is that when you go into a rebuilding year, right? Everybody knows this. You go into a rebuilding year, I want to say at least 60% of the time, you normally don't have a breakout year the way the Texans were going. Because in the beginning of the year, it really looked like, they're going to be okay, I think. And then we started seeing the Texans pick it up. And obviously, Stroud went into concussion protocol, but then after that, he's bounced back really well. And then they boat race, basically the Browns. That should be another good game coming up here next week. But I really didn't think that D'Amico Ryans would be doing the job that he's done, which also, and I can't remember if it was you or somebody else, when he talked about who's our guy out there with the Raiders, temporary interim coach?
Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, which everybody thought he was going to be a shoo-in, right? As soon as the season was over, they're going to give him that job. There's nothing to discuss. He hasn't got a call back. He's there and still with the interim tag, but now the season's over officially for the Raiders, not officially for the NFL. So, supposedly all the guys loved him. He had complete control of the locker room, complete trust of the locker room. It makes you wonder, could it be? Now, obviously, you have Tom Brady, who has stake in the Raiders. What would be the sheer coincidence that Belichick would end up becoming the HC out there with the Raiders?
Well, he doesn't want to be part of a reclamation project at this point in his career. He wants to go somewhere where he can win right now. He's not going to be part of a reclamation project.
Would that be with Jets?
He has. he does not want any part of that. Look, the Chargers, I could see him going to. Justin Herbert's a stud. He still needs some pieces around him. Belichick can fix that defense. Whether Harbaugh goes after or whether the Chargers go after Harbaugh, who knows? But you look at Houston and D'Amico Ryans, Angel.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens when an organization hires a coach and the players start to believe and they start to buy in. And Houston, the higher-ups hired football people who know what in the hell they're doing. They let them do their thing, and this is the product of it. C.J. Stroud is when it was under the right tutelage. They tailored the offensive program toward what he does best, and the defense didn't have to be spectacular. They just had to keep you in ball games. And what did they do? They go out, they win the division, they win their first, they win a playoff game, and now they're going to the divisional round. So more and more organizations should take a look at what the Texans have done. But again, you got owners with big egos, a lot of money. They don't care. They're just in it to make money. They're interested in tax write-offs. That's all. And I said this before in my rant yesterday. If Jerry Jones wanted to do the right things by the fans, sell the freaking team to somebody who actually cares about the fans. Because if you listen to his speech again after the game yesterday, it's the same speech that he's prepared since 96, 97. That's no shit. He is clueless, Angel. There are owners in this league that are clueless. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about you or I, the average Joe fan. They don't care. Look at Tepper in Carolina. You think he cares? You think he gives a rat's ass about what the fans think?
Right.
No.
It's a great point, though, because you got to think about, honestly, Ryan, if you get a call, I don't care. You could be, let's say, a special teams coordinator, and you feel like, okay, I might have still a couple years before I really think about being an NFL head coach. And basically, he goes around with the current candidates that are out there. I'm like, all right, well, you in the back there, you special teams guy, come here. Yeah, I don't think anybody in the right mind, the way Tepper acted in Jacksonville, the way this team has imploded, who in the right mind really wants to think about being a head coach in Carolina? As he says, he's trying to find the right person, blah, blah. Like, he sounds just corporate. It's like, well, Mr. Neff, you have the job for now, but do something wrong and you'll be fired just like the rest of them. Like, I don't think when he hires somebody, he's looking for someone to actually run the operations. Like, no, I run the operation. You're just going to guide this team.
Frank Reich wanted C.J. Stroud, Angel. Frank Reich wanted C.J. Stroud. He was overruled by the owner. The owner wanted Bryant Young. Why? Because he was an Alabama product. And because he did this and he won the Heisman Trophy. So it's obviously he doesn't know what he's doing either. Can you imagine, Angel, in the city of Philadelphia, if the Eagles had an owner it was like Jerry Jones? They would storm the link. They would storm the link. They would protest beyond if they had an owner like Jerry Jones. You know what Jeffrey Lurie does? He hires top-notch football people. He lets them do their job. Now, if things get a little bit too out of control, he might step in. He might have a say. But he lets the coaches and the general managers, he lets them handle what he hired them to do. And there's just owners in this league that don't want to do that. A la Jerry Jones, a la Mr. Tepper. They don't want to do it. They want to have their hands in the cookie jar.
Yep.
Period. And there you go. Buffalo 31, Steelers 17. So it's set. Kansas City will go to Buffalo. Houston will go to Baltimore for the divisional round next week. And I think they'll both be good games. Again, Lamar Jackson has to prove it in the playoffs. Until I see it, I think Houston gives him a tussle. And I think the Kansas City Buffalo will be a fantastic game as well.
I think so. I really do think so. And it's not going to get any warmer, but again, it doesn't matter between KC and Buffalo. Obviously, those guys are just used to the super frigid temperatures, and it shows. So the only thing that would be good is that at least maybe we can get to like above 5 instead of minus 29 like yesterday. Listen, I remember my cold days. I remember them well when I went to high school in New England for my sophomore through senior years. I'm sorry. I just don't miss it. Granted, today is the last day we'll be in the 70s here in these parts because that cold, massive air is coming this way. And what makes it bad in Florida, so we have tomorrow is going to be 55. And going Wednesday into Thursday morning, it's going to be 32. The bad part is that our plants that are outside of our studio is the ones that take the major hit because we replaced them because the year before we had taken a major frost. And now we may do the same thing too. But because, and I say this to everybody, the moisture that's here in the air all the time that surrounds Florida, obviously, Ryan, you know about it. That's what makes it feel like the up cold north because it goes right through you. I don't care what you have on, it goes right through you. The difference is I may throw on a hoodie like Bill Belichick, but the shorts are still there because I refuse to wear jeans down here. I had to do it with the former job that I had only because depending on what part of the building, but other than that, I don't freaking like it. But yeah, we're going to be in the 50s and 40s. Absolutely sucks this week coming up.
That's where like the warm, doesn't matter what you put on. You dress up for work, whether in the summertime, and as soon as you walk out the door, your like pants automatically suck to your skin.
Yep.
You know what I mean? On your leg, your shirt automatically sucks to everywhere, and then you're in the heat, and then you get into your vehicle, you turn on the AC, and then you cool down a little bit. Well, then you still have to get out of your car
Yep.
to go into work. So then you start sweating again, and then by that time you want to take a shower.
Yeah, it is. And this summer, now, granted, of course, all the ones that want to say, well, it's global warming, blah, blah, okay, whatever. So how come you guys don't say the same thing? Obviously, when every 5 years, folks, we go through this cycle. Every sinking 5 years, we go through this cycle. But this summer, obviously being the hottest on record here in Florida, there was times when, now, thankfully, the house, the studio, it stays nice and cool. But the minute you open up the garage door, oh my God, it just, you're going to take a shower and here comes the humidity like, pow, sorry, buddy, I'm here to stay for a couple of days. Yeah. And then we didn't have, at least like on a normal summer, we have the craziest lightning storms here in Tampa Bay, which a lot of times is cool. Majority of times quite dangerous, especially if you're on the beach. But that tends to kind of cool things off for like 5 minutes. And then it just gradually warms back up. It's just like the ground just sucks up the, all the moisture. We're like, all right, good. Let's do it again tomorrow. This summer, because of being the El Nino season, we had next to nothing for summer storms, to the point where normally the grass is normally green during summer because you have so much rain, and then browns up during the wintertime because less rain. This year it's been the role reversal. Now the grass is nice and green during the wintertime because we've had more rain than usual, and we've had some pretty nasty storms come through. Obviously, Miss Robin, those guys had one down in South Florida through tonight. But we've had some nasty ones. Last week, we had one that came through, knocked out the internet for 2 days. So, and we're not done yet because obviously I think this weekend we maybe have another one coming up. It is Gasparilla out here in Tampa, which is it's fun. It's like Mardi Gras. It's basically what it is. Jose Gasparilla, the fake pirate, they come through in a big ass boat and they bring it down the bay. It's a lot of fun. I will say that much. When it's cold, not so much. I'll be honest. Not so much. Because everybody gets decked out. You got pirate gear. The girls, they wear the gear as well. It's a fun party atmosphere. And Debbie and I really enjoy it. The first year we went together, it was cold to the point where we had winter coats, we had the scarves, we had the jeans. It had dipped down. I think even at parade time, it was at 29 or 30 degrees, one of the two, and didn't climb any higher than maybe 38. So this Saturday, they're expecting rain and chilly temperatures, which means that no one is going to show up. They have postponed it before. So hopefully they'll do the same thing too. But it's a fun time. It's a made up thing, but it's Tampa. It's a pirate thing. And you just have fun with it. So,
you know what? You know why the pirate didn't go to the over 17 movie, right?
Why?
It was rated R.
Oh, Jesus, I knew. I should have known there was a pirate joke in between there somewhere. But what's his name? Mario, who was the guy from Entertainment Tonight? He was also on Saved by the Bell.
Mario Lopez.
There you go. He was the Grand Marshal like maybe he's coming up on 3 years. Really cool guy. He was a lot of fun. So we like to stay towards the end of the parade. So you have to wait like 2.5 hours while it starts because it's such a slow procession coming down. But at the very end, he was really cool. And I'm hanging out with folks getting out the car and walking around and stuff. So that was pretty cool. But it's a good time. Again, now who would you think, Ryan? This is now a mind you, it's a pirate parade. Gasparilla. Who would you think would be featured the most because of the local team here?
The Buccaneers.
You don't even see them at all, period. You don't even see them. Now, if they have the excuse this year, would be because they beat the Eagles tonight. If they don't beat the Eagles tonight, then they have no excuse of why not to be there because all of them will still be in the town. But it's a thing. Best way to put it. It is just a thing. Hold on, my cousin may be chiming in now. I know he's going to get upset about the Eagles.
Well, so Mr. Eagles fan, if the Eagles lose tonight, do they blow it up?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they're going to get rid of Sirianni?
Yeah.
After 3 years.
Yep. Even though he took him to the Super Bowl last year, I think with the tirade that he had leaving out of Gallagher Field, your Kansas City Chiefs, I think that kind of put the nail in the coffin because they don't want that. That's not what Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman look for. They don't want a guy who's going to be out there yelling at the fans, telling them to shut up, and get the F out. They're not looking for that. So and the way this is collapsed, and when you don't have an answer, Ryan, when you go into a press conference and you are looking for answers because the questions are there, it's not good. So yeah, I can see this thing being blown up. Anyways, final minute here of Martinez Company. We thank you all for tuning in to the Tony Bruno Sports Network. Don't forget, Pete Shepard will be back tomorrow from 7 to 10 a.m., followed by Defo and Luby from 10 to 12. The best of, which is condensed now to 1 hour, the lunch hour from 12 to 1, and then Dave Benz, Jim Cosymore, Jess Taylor, LFG, the newest show, the newest lineup here on Tony Bruno Sports Network from 1 to 3 p.m., followed by Tony Bruno and Miss Robin, the Tony Bruno Show from 3 to 6 p.m., myself and Rich Quinones, Martinez and Company from 6 to 8, and then AJ Johnson and the Bleacher Brothers, who's coming on right after us here tonight. They are on Monday through Thursday here on the Tony Bruno Sports Network. Don't forget, you guys, please, as we tell you all the time, if you're going to drink, don't drive. Don't risk it. Take an Uber, take a Lyft, take whatever you need to do. Just keep the keys in your pocket because it's really not worth it. So thank you all for tuning in. We do appreciate it. We will see you all here tomorrow night. We hope you enjoy the game, and we hope, more importantly, you enjoy your night.
You're listening to Tony Bruno Sports Network.